Hello YouTube, this is Stan from Stanny G Tech, and I'm sorry for the delays for not recording for the long time. It's just it's summer and I'm busy and I'm busy with going to a swimming pool, doing swim teams and all that stuff. It's summer. But anyways, I'm gonna do the class or lesson 3 today, where we're going to talk about decision making, or so known if statements. But before I start this lesson, I want to give a big shout out to one of my subscribers, and he recently subscribed to me maybe like a couple of days ago. His YouTube name is Flow Fusion. So I'm gonna go ahead and type his link in the description under this video. And so yeah, check out his channel. He has gaming videos, vlogs, shout outs, and he has a really nice channel. I know I had big channel, as I already told you guys. I had a big channel, World of Stan. I had it for since 2008 or 2009, and it was oddly shut down by YouTube because somebody marked my comment as spam, and apparently it was not even spam, but apparently, YouTube is so corrupted right now that they don't figure out, okay, was it really spam or not? They just suspend your channel. But anyways, let's get this channel up and running, and hopefully, get some subscribers, and hopefully I'll catch up to the amount of subscribers and that I had on my World of Stan channel. So all of you guys remember me, who remember me as World of Stan, go ahead and subscribe to my channel here. The content is gonna be here, different kind of content, as I already said. If you are not familiar with the content on this channel, watch my first video, which is class number 1, I believe. Anyways, so today we're going to be talking about decision making. See, sometimes, like in the real life, you also need to make decisions, right? For example, if my friend calls me tonight, we might go out and see a movie. Otherwise, I'm staying home. Or if uh, the weather's going to be good outside, I'm going to go to the pool. Else, I'm going to stay home and do the tutorial like I'm doing right now, or a lesson, or a class, whatever you want to call it. So programs, sometimes in programs you need to let the user, let the program decide for the user what depending on the input from the user. The you have to decide as a programmer what to allow user to do. Like, for example, if the user enters um, numbers or amounts, or something, first name, last name incorrectly, then you display the error message. Otherwise, you let the program run and continue with whatever the user has to do in the program. Anyways, so uh, I don't have any slides for this lesson. As you saw, I started right in Visual Studio. So let's write a little program that would let us I'm sorry, I can't talk today. I'm not sure why. That would let us do some decision making. So I'll show you how we could do this in code. For this, let's go ahead and um create a new project. All right, we'll call this project um lesson 3. And also the solution for this project will be called lesson 3, and this is going to be a Windows form application. So we're going to click OK. It's going to bring us the form, blah blah blah. You know how it's done, right? You extend the form. Now from lesson 1 and 2, you remember that the first thing you want to make sure that you rename stuff. You don't want any of the default stuff on there. So right now, let's go ahead and create a simple program that will just demonstrate how the if statements work. All right. Um, so first of all, what we need to do is rename these form stuffs to form. I would call it if demo. if demo. Of course that's the form, so I don't know, just like that. So if demo is gonna change throughout. So you see form number 1, but the form name is not changed. So I'm gonna go in and change. Wait, what's the form? Or was it the project that I changed? Huh. Hold on, guys. No, it was. I believe it was the form. Hold on. Yeah, I changed the form name to if demo. So if demo here. Now I have to change the form property to if demo. This could be 2 words. This is just the text that's gonna appear on the top of the form. Oops, stuff is falling from my table. I'm sorry. So boom. See. Okay, now the name property of the form has to be changed to if demo, and it did. All right, cool. So now let's say we gonna have a button. So button, and we're gonna have a text box, and we're gonna have a let's see, a label. That's gonna be fine. Um, a wheel. Ah, label. All right, so we're gonna drag this thing right here. So we're gonna have this thing here, this thing here, and I would like to add another label just for the beauty of it. So now you know what we have to do, right? Names, LBL, input. All right. So text. I'll just give names first, because it's convenient. You don't have to scroll. TXT input. BTN okay. And last but not least, for the names, is gonna be LBL display. All right. So now, we go ahead and change the text property just to make sure that users know what's going on. Text. Right. So this is gonna be input. And this one is gonna be nothing. This one is gonna be okay. I was gonna say proceed, but whatever. Okay. This is gonna be text property of this guy. We'll just make it. Actually, yeah, we'll drag it right here too. Okay, so now, as we know from lessons 1 and 2, you have to code behind the form. So this is gonna be a code behind. Right. So again, we'll look at the form. What's gonna happen in the form? All right. So we're gonna put in some value here, and we click OK to evaluate the value. And we're gonna display the result in the label display, right? So so let's create the program. So we click behind the OK button because we're gonna click the button, and the button click event will initiate the operation, right? So let's think of something. All right, what can we do regarding decision? All right, so let's do a little fun. All right, let's have a little fun. So, make a program that make a program that would um, describe an object to a user upon entry. So, so let's say we will have an object. So the object would be, let's play with strings today, right? String object. Let's do item. String item. String item. Right, string item. Then we will have a message one. Um, string message one. Uh, message one. Now, this would describe, let's say, let's say item one description. Items one description. Right? Then string message. Sorry about that. Two. We set it equal to item two description. Item two's description. So we set two messages, right, as two objects, and we declare them as strings and string item. So what's gonna happen? So what I mean is gonna grab an item. So depending on the item, right? So let's say again, look. All right. So we have two messages, right? And we are talking about now. So if see, now we have a condition, which is a decision making or condition, right? If the item equals item one, then the item one's description will pop out in the message one. Else, if the item is item number two, then item two's description is gonna pop out, right? So already we see the decision making, right, in this program. So we need to make some decision because a user could enter item 2 or item 1. Well, it depends, right? So now I would say since we don't have we haven't talked about arrays yet, so I'm gonna make item 1 and item 2. Item 1, item 2. So we declare two of them, right? So because if item 1 is selected, then the description of item 1 will be shown. If item 2 is selected, then the description of item 2 will be shown. So why don't we say that in the code now? So we put the keyword if, right? Because we want to ask what's going on. Then after this, we open up the parens, right? And we type if text box input dot text, right? Because we want to check the text, what the text is equal to item number 1, item 1, might be because of a 2 equal. Yes. Apparently equal because this is it's gonna make sure that it's double equal means for sure. If it does equals, so in other words, equals that value. Um, so then we go ahead and open our curly brackets because we're gonna do a statement. So this is the condition, curly brackets. This is the condition, right? And now we do the statement. So if that condition is true, then we want the LBL display dot text, because we're setting the text of the label, equals to message 1, right? Now, usually you can make couple if statements, right? You can write if if uh, input in text box 1. I mean, if input in the text box equals item number 1, then LBL display equals message 1. If text boxes input equals item number 2, then the display message would be from message number 2. If and if and if, or you can write this like this, and it will still work. So if this condition is going to be this operation, right? Now, else you write it behind the curly brackets because that's another statement. Then you type in another statement, else LBL. Actually, else if, because that's another condition, right? Else if. No, actually, you know what? Actually, you don't even need else if. Well, you can say, um, you think about it. You think about your program. Like you can say else, but then you have to give some kind of firm statement. You cannot do, well, you can do else if this condition is true, then it's going to be this statement. Else if this condition is true, it's going to be this statement. So you can write else if. It doesn't hurt. You can write another if. You can write else if. Doesn't really matter. Else if, and I'm just gonna, for the sake of time saving, I'm gonna copy this statement and just retype it. Input.text equals equals item number 2, item 2. If it's item number 2, then okay, already had the curly brackets. Then we're gonna have to go ahead and display on the LBL display dot text. We're gonna display the item number 2, right? So we display message 2. Now, if you want the program not to crash, because if you don't handle all the possibilities, the program will crash. So in this situation, we say to the program, if the value of a text box equals item number 1, then it's gonna go in memory and grab the items number 1's description and display it. Else if the value of the text box is item number 2, then LBL display text will be equaling message number 2. Now we want to go ahead and handle the exception of not being number 1, it not being item number 1, or it not being item number 2, right? So we type in else, and we type in else LBL display dot text equals error. Please check your entry. Now I will show you how to show the message boxes. Pretty much, you write message box dot show instead of typing LBL display. You can type message box dot show, and then you put this text in the message box dot show window, and it will display the message box like normal. You get the error messages in, or you can also set the message icon, message logo, whatever items you can set in there, and you'll have a little red cross in there. I mean, white cross in the red circle, the error message or exclamation mark or whatever you want. Right? For these purposes, we'll just, for the sake of not wasting time to do that, um, I just did the little simple thing here. So now the program is complete. So again, run through the program. We need to go ahead and evaluate the value in the text box, right? Whatever the value is. So now behind the OK button, because we're gonna type it in and push OK button, click OK button in our case, right? Then what's gonna do? Remember tracing the code. Remember that. So we need to trace the code. So okay, so we have item number 1, we have item number 2. Now, if if um, if hold on one second. I don't even need those item number 1, item number 2. I don't even need those. Um, so that's how you, by the way, that's how you comment out the code. You just two slashes. Because you're dealing with strings, so we already said, um, you know, uh, just making sure. Yeah, we already getting the if txt. Yeah, we already checking the text boxes, right? We could set the item number 1 equal to text box number 1 txt that text, but there's no need, right? So for this purposes, let's just run the program and see if we can debug it if it doesn't work. So let's run the program. The reason why I commented out, because I figured out item number 1 and item number 2 are not the objects. They're not the objects. They're just, inputs from the user. So if the text equals, input from the user, then it's going to compare it message number 1. If the text equals item number 2 from a user, then the message number 2 will be pop out. Let's check it out. Else, nothing will pop out but the error message. So let's go ahead and type in Apple. And we click OK. It says error, please check your entry. See, it works. It works and the program doesn't crash. We type in item number 1. Item 1. And we have item 1's description. And whatever text you can type in there, it will be there, right? So if we type in item number 2, right, it will describe item number 2. So the description will pop out for item number 2. Now, if we type in item number 3, which doesn't exist, it's going to say error, please check your value, right? So let me show you the message box.show property. So let's say instead of this, I'm just going to copy the text. Just going to copy the text. Copy, 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 copy. Okay, cool. All right, now instead of this, we say else message box dot show, and it already tells you what to show. And in the parentheses, you just put in the value. All right, now let's check it out. So let's put in, I don't know, grape, grapes, grape. See, error. Please check your entry. And it gives you a little OK button too. So yeah, that works, and the program doesn't crash. So let me type in item 1. Item number 1's description. Item 2. Item number 2's description. You see how that program works? So in other words, if statements are really helpful when you need to check something, like validate the input from the user. Like, let's say instead of typing in your first name John, a person a person could type in like Johns or Jahan or something, or Joon or something. Just misspell the word completely. That way you can check. So you say if the message in the text box equals, if the text in the text box equals John, then everything is alright. Let the program continue running. Else, stop the user. Stop the user and tell them, hey, something's wrong here. So make sure you correct those things. And there are tons of ways to display the error messages. You see sometimes on the forums, on Windows forums, they display the real little red message next to the fields. There are bunch of ways to do that, and error message boxes and everything. So I mean, you can just find out really cool ways to show the error messages. But in general, if statements work like this, you give it the if, you put the parentheses around the condition. You say if this condition is true, then you put two curly brackets open and close, and between those you type if this condition is true, do this, this, and this, and this. Else, if this condition is true, do that and that and that and that and that. Else, if nothing is true, you don't have to type if nothing is true. You don't have to type else if item number 1, what did I type here? Else if the display, the txt input.text doesn't equal item number 1, and txt display txt input.text doesn't equals number 2, item number 2, then display the error. You don't have to do that. All you have to say is just else and then message box dot show, right? So really that's all you have to do. And yeah, so that's pretty easy. Thank you guys for watching this tutorial. And again, big shout out to Flow Fusion. Check out his channel, subscribe, and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you guys. I'll see you later. Bye bye.